Advtech Limited is an investment holding company which provides formal education services as well as training in the technology, human resources, industrial and manufacturing sectors. It has a market cap of 3.9 billion rand, a PE ratio of 22.4 and a dividend yield of 4.3%. Now, Sasha, this is the other competitor amongst the educational theme within South Africa. I sometimes like to call it the spur to Curo's famous brands. I don't know if that's fair. They're a bit late movers in this, but they have become slightly more aggressive in terms of acquiring, but they've got some great brands.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I mean, I think the Crawford brand is well known to everybody. There's a beautiful one just down the road here in Benmore, just around the corner from here. And I mean, people want to get their kids into these schools, not only from a location point of view, but because of what they stand for. So they kind of different from the old established schools that have a church in the middle. These are schools that pride themselves on more kind of an American model with, although you still wear a uniform, but
you're allowed to have long hair and
long-ish,
a bit more expressive
you bend
of your
the rules. Yeah. Well, exactly. So they encourage individuals to go to these places, and there is a level of sport, and they play each other, but they're also starting to grow in prominence in a southern as more young professionals come through, and people say, "Where did you go to school?" Because I know where you went to school, and you know where I went to school. Our schools are over 100 years old, so. These schools slowly are gaining a little bit of momentum, but they're not enough of them. And in there, I think there's a massive opportunity.
Let's just look at where the companies come from and where it's going. Because Frank Thompson was the CEO for a long time, conservative by nature, stuck with his Crawford brands and sat there while Curo was going gung-ho, buying schools, building schools. Then we had Leslie Marsdorp, who took over, who was the former chairman, and he was slightly more aggressive, bought a few brands, you know, Peakenwood and others, and then all of a sudden, results came out a few days late, and they announced that Leslie's leaving and Frank's coming back.
Yeah, and
is that a concern?
Well, I guess there's an element of continuity there. And I guess if you were a parent at one of the schools, you'd want a level of continuity and you'd say, okay, maybe yes. But as a shareholder, you want the returns that Curo have given you. And you're like, well, come on, we do the same thing. You know, because roughly they have the same number of students now. I think they have slightly less in the school systems, and in fact,
they've got the big tertiary brands,
massive.
Vega and Varsity College,
and those have an enormous amount of enrollments. I think before they'd added all the previous ones, nearly double what the school had, but it's a lot less profitable.
And ironically, you know, well, not ironically, but those tertiary education offerings are a lot more expensive than, you know, the universities that we have in South Africa, because those universities are subsidized by the government.
But they're shorter courses, more intense, and in a world of, what are we now, 7.2 billion individuals, you need to have more specialization.
So here we got the share graph. We've seen it quite choppy, but from 2014 up until now, it's certainly gone in the right direction. But again, I think that volatility has come from, what sort of model are they going to take up? Are they going to follow Curo? Are they going to be more conservative? Changes up top. Are you hot on the stock?
Yeah, look, I think ultimately it's what investors want. And you saw that great yield. So different people looking for different things. I think, yes, in the long run, I am hot on the stock. But I think as an investor, you shouldn't expect the same sort of price action unless they start doing something different. And maybe that would then be a concern. So maybe the two different models for two different investors in the same space.
I tend to agree with you, and I think the potential within the industry. I mean, when you have a look at the numbers of what the private sector is providing in terms of education compared to the state, and you look at healthcare and how influential the private sector is there, you would like to see Advtech and Curo being more influential, maybe even a third player coming into the fray.
There's room for it.
There certainly is. There's lots of room. So if management get this right, they can certainly go from strength to strength from here. So
100%.
We've got to back them on that one and call it hot.
Hot.